Hey Sunrise family, Pastor Amie here. Welcome to our video series to go along with our sermon series called Breathe, Christian Mindfulness. We as pastors wanted to give you practical ways to create space in your moments, to see God, to breathe God in, and to be a part of God's activity all around you. Throughout this series, we will be using Dr. Amy Oden's book called Right Here, Right Now, Practices of Christian Mindfulness. Let's get started. Since the earliest centuries of Christianity, communities living in monasteries have punctuated the day with 8 set times for prayer. These fixed times for prayer were signaled by a bell so that each person would pause from work and gather with the community to pray. We can do this in our daily lives as well. A mindfulness bell could be a phone app or timer that prompts you for regular pauses for mindfulness throughout your day. Let these be micro invitations for you to open up space in the busyness of the day for mindful breathing and attentiveness to God. When you hear your bell go off, remember that you have everything you need for your Christian mindfulness practice right here, right now. Your breath, your body, and God's presence. We start with attentive breathing. First, breathe slowly and deeply. As you breathe, notice your breathing. The feeling of your chest as it rises and falls. The sensation of air in your nose and lungs. Take your time to breathe in and out purposefully. Fully experience your body breathing. This first step you already do as a gift God has given you. You do not have to choose each time you take a breath. Your body chooses that for you. But you can choose to breathe in an attentive and mindful way. The second step after attentive breathing is attentive embodiment. Continue to breathe mindfully and let your breathing fill your whole body. Visualize the oxygen filling your lungs, then your torso, then your arms and legs, providing life-giving oxygen throughout your bloodstream from the tip of your head down to your toes. Focus your attention as you continue breathing, noticing what arises in your body, sensations or feelings, perhaps a tightness here or a warm tingle there. Simply noticing is all that is required. Don't analyze, justify, or fix any of these sensations. Christians believe that our bodies are blessed, consecrated by God who became flesh to dwell with us. Our enfleshment connects us to God who meets us where we are, in our bodies, right here, right now. After you have attentive breathing and attentive embodiment, third is acknowledgement. Acknowledge whatever arises from your mindful breathing and embodiment. Acknowledge the thoughts, feelings, sensations, or attitudes that are in you right now. Whether it is positive or negative, whether you like it or don't like it, acknowledge what is. We spend a lot of energy trying to avoid, deny, repress, or reject what is actually happening in our bodies. In this moment, acknowledge what is there, arising in your breathing and embodiment. Some call this non-judgmental observing. Others call it prayerful attentiveness. You could visualize each thing that arises as a boat floating down the river. You see it, acknowledge it's there, and let it float right on by without stopping to get on the boat or rifle through its cargo. This is the prayerful attention part of Christian mindfulness. We pay prayerful attention to what is with an open heart to discover what might God be up to. We're open to discovery more than judgment, to listen more than speaking. As you hold all that arises before God, let God hold it with you. God is right here, right now, in your breathing and embodiment. As you acknowledge what is, also acknowledge God's sharing in it with you. Visualize yourself with Jesus, together holding what you have noticed. Experience God's loving gaze upon it, all in this moment. Attentive breathing, attentive embodiment, acknowledgement, and finally discovery. As you acknowledge whatever arises, holding it within God's presence, see what you discover. Do thoughts or feelings shift shapes, increase or diminish? Does a sensation move elsewhere in your body? Does a thought or attitude disappear altogether like a boat floating away? Again, the point here is to notice and acknowledge what you discover, not to analyze, judge, or process it. Simply noticing it is the main work of mindfulness. However, noticing requires being present. You cannot fail. There is no wrong answer. Whatever arises is what you notice and acknowledge, held simply before God. You do not have to understand, change, or act upon anything. Step into prayerful acknowledgement of what is here right now with God. When you hear your mindfulness bell, practice these 4 steps of attentive breathing, attentive embodiment, acknowledgement, and discovery, and hold it all there before the sight of God and invite God into that space with you. In the next few days, we'll learn some specific prayer practices that include mindfulness.